NERDSoul.
Yeah, late ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people? Today, another wonderful episode of movie reviews, and we got a cool one, interesting up. You know what I'm saying? They cloned Tyrone, and
Man,
I am joined by some
man.
awesome brothers. All right, I'm gonna throw it right now to Mr. Open Mind. What's up?
What's up, Nerd Soul family? How y'all feeling? I'm back. I got something else to say. We ain't talking about game. So glad to have me back. Oh, by the way, what's the guy named the dude that smoked the cigarette with that's so
Oh,
regal?
Solar Gray.
Solar. I just finished watching y'all hour about the strike. Shout out to Solar. He know what this means. That's my dude with this. I like the way he smokes cigarettes. Dude is the kingliest. He is the kingliest cigarette smoker.
Wow.
like when he bro, you gotta watch.
He's so
you gotta watch
relaxed with
Solar.
it.
I don't know. I don't be caring what he be talking about. I just be sitting looking at him as he sit back like my uncle with his leg crossed with the cigarette holder, with the cigarette hanging out the cigarette holder. He just looks so. He makes smoking a cigarette look super
Look
masculine.
cool.
Yeah, like yo, like if I'ma smoke like Solar. If you gonna do it, be you know what I'm saying? Don't be holding your cigarette with your pinky all feminine. No, he is the most
Hey,
masculine cigarette holding this dude. Anyway, I just wanted to be y'all know I ain't got no sense. And the Lord I ain't had sense since the Lord was giving sense stuff. Y'all don't even pay me no mind. Go
Boy.
ahead.
So we also got another, TJ Storm in the house. What's up? What's up?
thank you. Welcome. I appreciate. Thank you for having me, and thank you to the NERDSoul community for letting me be a part of this conversation. We clone Tyrone. Oh my God.
Man.
What are them?
Man, yo.
Finally,
Look,
bruh, the nuances
the
in this movie.
This one is
nuances.
crazy. Like, man, this one. Okay,
Yeah, we
so
gotta have a conversation, black community. We
I'm
gotta
a.
have a conversation.
Let me see. Okay, all right. I think I'll start off right here. What did you think about the movie when you first saw the trailer? And I'll throw this to TJ Storm. When you first saw the trailer, were you interested or were you like, this looks kind of corny? Or how were you feeling when the trailer came out?
I was feeling nostalgic, one, because here it is. I took it as a period piece because you know what it is. They showed Jamie Foxx first, with all the controversy surrounding him. Of course, thank you for healing him, God, and putting him above and keeping him above ground. But they showed it where it was like a '70s movie, because when you see the character at first, I thought of it like a '70s period piece. So it was an interesting, effect where how they advertised the characters, how they displayed the commercials. It just gave me this old nostalgic feeling like an old Dolomite movie, but in a new age. And when
Okay.
I got to viewing, I don't want to spoil it. That's kind
Oh
of
no,
like
we
the
full
No, you
spoilers.
can
So
spoil it.
we're
We
full
spoil
oh, we
it.
spoilers.
full spoiler.
Spoil it.
Okay,
Oh yeah, bro.
It's on
let's
We
Netflix.
go.
So
spoiling it, bro.
we
If you
full
ain't
spoilers.
seen it,
Yeah,
if you ain't seen it, don't watch this episode
Fiend it.
because we spoiling everything. Go ahead.
No, we need you to hear this episode. We need you to hear one the white guys with the afros. Let's
Man.
talk. Can we
Let's talk
start
about
there?
it. Let's talk about
Can we
it.
And there was
start
there was
there?
there was
Talk
dense
about it.
afros too.
Go ahead.
Very, very. So the mind control, the how they placed in certain areas to watch, the movements, the habits, behavioral situations, and it gave me an astute observation on the outside where I wonder how much of this is really moving about.
Yeah,
And it kind of makes
that's why we.
and it kind of
Yeah.
made me look at my I'm over here in Louisiana, in New Orleans, that is, and just put it out there. A lot of Arabian gas stations, like around the center or something. I don't know nothing about. They got the cell phones and the gas. We can't talk to nobody or run from them with our own cars. If they cut down the gas stations and the Metro PCS.
Yeah.
Man,
But that's why,
yo.
so that's why you need to be with a real carrier. I'm a T-Mobile guy.
That's right. So open
I'm
mind.
T-Mobile too.
Open mind. When you saw the trailer, how were you feeling about it? Like before actually seeing the movie, how did you feel about the trailer?
The trailer didn't really give me like I didn't really. I'm neutral. If that's the best way to say because I didn't really
Okay.
like. It
It's a
didn't
place.
for me. I wanted to see it because Jamie Foxx and John Boyega was in it. I didn't care what it was about. I support those two actors. So for me,
Okay.
it wouldn't be. It wouldn't. I wouldn't put too much of my emphasis or my thoughts on the trailer. Like as soon as I saw that Jamie Foxx and John Boyega had another movie, I'm like, all right, when they come out, I'm gonna check that out. That's it. I
Right.
didn't have any. I didn't know what it was gonna be about or what what the movie was. I just was like, let me sit down and watch it because I support these two actors, and I didn't know what to expect. And that was it for me. It wasn't nothing super major.
Okay, because
Okay.
when I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, I guess this is all right. Similar and sort of like a neutral / positive because we saw Tiana Paris as at least the first time I saw her. Can't remember what movie it was. It was like a smaller movie. But then, of course, she's in Marvel now. So I saw her in and then, of course, Jamie Foxx and John Boyega. We know them. So I was like, all right, I guess
Right.
so. I was like, but the trailer, I was just like, I guess I don't, whatever. But
Yeah,
Right.
that's
when
kind
we,
of that's yeah,
go
that's the
ahead.
way for me. Like it wasn't. Yeah, that's it. That was it. That's how it was for me. Nerd. Like what you just said. Like nothing. It was neutral. Like I didn't feel nothing good or bad. I just like I want to see that because I like those two actors. Like I said, I
I
didn't
can
give it
tell
much
you,
thought.
I can say now where just after watching it, the first movie that came to mind is an old movie that it reminded me of was Petey Lee Straw, The Devil's Son-in-Law, an old Rudy Ray Moore movie. And
Mhm.
it gave me that when I say it was kind of like it gave me that nostalgic feel
Mhm.
and in a way like I wonder if they're going to play off of these so-called old characters and bring them into the nuance of the world. But when they showed the whole movie, I'm looking for who the hell was Tyrone. Excuse my language, my apologies, but
Tyrone
who
at
the
the end.
heck was Tyrone? Exactly.
Tyrone was at the very
Tyrone at
end.
the very end.
The very end of
Yeah.
the movie. But
That
the
was
thing is, it didn't have nothing to do with Tyrone. That's the thing.
right.
This movie has nothing to do with Tyrone specifically. Tyrone
Yeah.
is just
Right.
Tyrone is more of
He's
Tyrone
like
is
a
just
guy.
is a
I guess more like a concept.
concept. That's
Hmm.
the better word. Tyrone is a concept that represents a black person, right? It doesn't have
Exactly.
because especially, and I'm not saying that in general. I'm saying that in reference to the movie. In reference to the
Right.
movie, Tyrone is what is Pedro, is John or Habib. These names that
Hmm.
we
Yeah.
attach to the races of people, right? That's why I named everybody. So everybody was like, "Oh man, you bigot." Nope, I mentioned every race, and we do this amongst ourselves. Let's be honest when we
Right.
have a private conversation. When we're talking amongst ourselves, we would say a generic name of that race to describe that race when we describe it. So
True.
Tyrone is just a generic name that describes a black person because the movie itself is about cloning black people. We're cloning
Right.
certain black stereotypical people because
Yeah.
it didn't clone everybody. It was a stereotypical type
Yeah. A
that
It
they
was
very
a
cloned.
control
specific black
factor.
person that they were
Yeah, it
cloning.
was a specific type of black man, specific type of black woman, the drug dealer, the gangster, the killer, the whore.
Yeah. The
Sorry,
pimp.
my language. Like these specific stereotypical titles. And then everybody else in the hood, the Glen, was just people. Everybody didn't get cloned. It was just certain
Right.
people that was cloned.
Because
Hmm.
it was the trap. It was the analogies
Yeah,
behind everything that it instilled. As you said, the pimp, the streetwalker, the drug dealer, the liquor stores, the check cash in place. How the news every time somebody gets on the news, a black person, they gotta go off and tell you this, that, and the third, and give shout outs to their friends. It's all stereotype into
and
one
mind
big
you,
ball.
the white boys with the froze was clones too. A lot of people missed that.
Hey,
The workers,
Oh
everybody in the factory
snap!
was a clone.
Oh
everybody in the
This
snap!
factory was a
a
clone.
lot of people who you probably need to watch it again if you saw it and was
Yeah, I
and,
might
and
have
was
to peep that
outraged
again.
If you saw this movie and you were outraged at the fact that the white people was controlling the black people in the clone facility, everybody in the facility was also a clone, including the white people. Yeah, because remember, Clarence Thomas at the end of the movie was the one behind all of it. And I say Clarence Thomas because this is why I wanted to come and do this show. I wanted to say this live. Ain't it funny that in a situation of oppression or something like a Tyrone movie where we're being oppressed and controlled for, you know what I'm saying? The mother effer that's doing the controlling is Clarence mother effing Thomas.
The one that came up with the science for them to do it.
Now why y'all keep saying Clarence Thomas not in this movie? What you talking about, man? No, Clarence Thomas is not in this movie. No.
Clarence Thomas is a concept, just like Tyrone is a concept.
Just like Tyrone is a concept.
Right.
The guy at the end who's well-spoken, educated black man with all of the smarts and all the, he got the, you know, it all goes back to, and think about it. It's
the
got
talented 10th class that look down on the average everyday black man and woman.
But this
right, because they know.
Here's why I say Clarence Thomas, because this guy, it's not so much as cliche. I'm actually getting personal here. It reminds me of Clarence Thomas because Clarence Thomas hates black people because he was bullied by black people. He was traumatized by his people, according to him, as a little boy. And what does this character in the movie do? He has a trauma that he ain't got past, his brother dying. So he going to clone people and he finna oppress his own people. All because of a tragedy that happened to him. His little brother got shot by some black people. So take the story of the guy who did the cloning, the Clarence Thomas figure. He did all of this because some black people shot his brother in the hood. So he got an issue with NIGGAs. So he finna oppress us for what we did to his brother when his little brother died. How many years ago? Because if you look at the guy, he's an old man by the time we see him. So he's been around for a minute.
Like by the time Clarence we see him, he's in his, what, 70s maybe?
70-something years old. How old is Clarence Thomas? Clarence Thomas is still holding on to whatever black people did to him when he was a little boy. So much so that you at the Supreme Court shooting down all of the laws that helped us, everything Thurgood Marshall fought for. You just destroying it, like you just burnt it up because somebody picked on you, Clarence Thomas. Ooh, I wanted to yell this on the mic. Thank you so much, NERDSoul.
Now
I wanted to scream at this. Go ahead.
I'm gonna jump off that point. You know, I mean, all people that watch the show might know we haven't been live in a while, but NERDSoulite, I got the little guy, and he's 5 now. And you know, he goes to we take him to the park a lot. You know, we're in VA now, so we get a lot more rain. So it's not like in LA, you go to the park anytime. You don't have to worry about it. But here, you know, it's every now and then you can go to the park. But when
there's a chance.
Yeah, when we were talking about going to the park and what parks we go to, I was like, well, I don't want to go to this park because this type of child will treat my child a certain way because my child isn't the black that they think he should be.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
I'm just letting you speak. I'm trying not to interrupt.
And I grew up with that. Like when I grew up, I like to draw. I like to, you know, read comics. That was not considered cool. I was the Michael B. Jordan. I was corny.
Right. At the same given token, it doesn't take away from it doesn't shy away from your intelligence or what have you. And here it is. I'm a kid that grew up in, you know, what they considered the hood. And of course, it's not about where you came from, it's about who you determined to be. And I knew at an early sense that I was different. Of course, I was picked on because I was the only child, you know, in the house with 3 women. So here they thinking like, yeah, he gonna be some type of, you know, they think I'm gonna be different. They think I'm gonna turn the other side. Nothing against, you know, the community, the alphabet community, but nevertheless, because this was the stipulation and this was the thought process, they figured there's no man there, there's no man figure. Oh, he's gonna be a sissy. That's just what they categorize.
That's the
So
word
I
that they used
understand
back in the day.
that's the word that they used back in the day. So here it is. Not to say I'm not trying to shame anybody in the alphabet community whatsoever.
Yeah,
I love all
that's just how the old
period.
folks talk back in the day. That's
Exactly. And to sum it up, here you have it. You're shown all these different stereotypes because they know that people are treated different within their own community. And as you've seen in the movie, they treat you different within your own community. And they kept on placing you there. Like, I kept on, you see, I'm a person, when I watch a movie, I look at license plates. And every license plate say a squirrel plate. And it's like a hip meaning a squirrel. When you think of a squirrel, I think of a hypnotizing loop. He's going around and around and around and around. And the guy at the corner store, my favorite individual, Mr. Frog, he was the funniest person out there, Tom. He had all the information. He could
see everything. He everything.
He could see everything. He done been through the cycle.
Homeless men.
You got that new car smell, young blood.
Because he knew that was the clone, and that wasn't the one that he was looking at. That old man knew what time it was.
And the thing is, he had been peeping games so long, he was just like not even fazed by it.
Because he was drinking. He was considered the alcoholic, so they already knew. Just give him a little liquor, he ain't gonna bother nobody. But he was watching everybody.
And that little man was not a clone. That little homeless man, he wasn't a clone.
Nope.
He was a stereotypical spot, but he wasn't a clone.
Exactly. He wasn't a clone. The female, character, she was an amazing actress. She played a heck of a role, as an individual. And all of them made sure that they got paid for their services, whether it's information or services. They all got paid for it. They was hustlers.
Now
they showed the.
Oh no, go ahead.
So they showed hustler's mentality. They showed how this pimp, tries to stand over, but they brought up their shame. A lot of people, they tried to, because you don't buy these expensive brand of clothes. Remember, there was a portion where they was talking about, I didn't have this brand, he had the cheaper brand. Because he was considered this quality, only certain people would look at you a certain way. As opposed to if you had this particular fur, this particular type of shirt, this particular silk, and these particular slacks, you get more of attention from this other crowd.
And
because
which is also a stereotype. Which is also another stereotype.
Right, because it shows you the race that there's out of 10 different people in the world, there's 3 different people that everybody that 1 through 7 is chasing. Everybody trying to be 8, 9, and 10. Nobody don't want to settle for themselves and look within themselves, to turn it around. There's a lot of messages that are there that are just missing, but it's blatantly in your face. And here we talking about it.
Yeah, like I want to go back to what I think it was Open Mind said, talking about like they didn't clone everybody, and
it's just a stereotypical like ideological type of black person.
Yeah, because
in other words,
know
their perception of what they think we brought. Even the guy who's doing the cloning, the black guy, he himself was just as disconnected from the hood. So he himself fell victim to the white stereotype perception, implicit bias of what they think we are, what they think we are, how they think we act. So they design these bodies. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. The trip is they realized we ain't gotta clone everybody.
Right.
And it's like they don't have to control everyone. They only gotta control the ones that have influence.
Exactly.
So we got the pimp, we got the drug dealer, because in certain communities, people want to be the drug dealer because the drug dealer is cool. And now, honestly, if you want to pare it down, drug dealing itself isn't cool. It's what the fast money gets you. It's the fast money that's cool. He has a car, he has the clothes, he has the this, you know what I'm saying? People respect him, or mostly fear him, but you know what I'm saying? People respect him. Like, that's what they want. So it's like, all right, cool, get that. Or get the girl. this girl, get control this girl or these girls or control this pimp or whatever. And you have these certain, I guess you could say, quintessential cornerstones of the most negative parts of our community, but then are kind of like pedestalized through the media that they generate. So they know, hey, we ain't got a clone, but like maybe 2 or 3 people in the hood, because everybody gonna want to copy them. And then as long as we can control them, we good.
Which brings
I tell
me
you
to
one
your
thing
point.
the movie did. It made me don't want to eat Kentucky Fried Chicken, because you know what? I'm gonna say he the only colonel out there putting things in the spices that's a little different. Popeyes, he stole. You gotta somebody go take from somebody to make a couple of million, and why not? They always been using the brand. The whole chicken thing, the products and things that they put in the chicken and put into food, and it was a bigger message. Where you don't think they're doing it now?
Yeah, that the whole
Well, I want to kind of
them realizing the chicken, them realizing the soda, them realizing the music in the strip club, them all of that. They're like, yo, it's all mind control. It's all either mind or mood control.
Nerd, about how they knew that certain black people will follow a specific like influence, like the whatever. And I want to speak to us as a people. Yeah, us as a people, there is some truth to that. We do have a tendency to jump on some BS, and that BS being a corrupt preacher that's selling us snake oil, like I said, the pimp, the hustler, whatever. And it's not that I look down on these individuals. I look at these individuals as survivors: a pimp, a hustler, and a preacher. Most preachers become preachers because they can't get a job and they can't start a business. Let me preach the word of God and collect some donation money and play, because I ain't got no other way to get no income, and I don't want to live on the street, and I like nice things. But that's a lot. That's the truth about a lot of preachers. Instead of me being judgmental and beating them down, I understand a human being trying to survive on earth. So what I say is, I understand a person's plight, a person that's hustling, a person that's selling their body, woman, a person that's selling drugs, a person that's doing something they wouldn't want to do really, but society has rejected them in some way, whether it's a school, whatever it's a certain job you would like to have done, but they won't hire you, they don't see you. Everybody got to survive in some way. You can't. You're only a criminal if you get caught, because our government break the law. So at the end of the day, if you are surviving and you're not harming nobody, if you're just harming yourself but nobody else, I can't judge you for what you do for a living. But at the end of the day, also, without having that judgment, we also need to not glorify these pimps, drug dealers, hustlers, so on and so forth, because that's a survival type of person. Like if you're in that state, if you are a pimp, if you are a hustler, if you are nobody, you're in a state of survival. And then the point is to get out of that, sack up enough money or do whatever it is in that life so that you can eventually get out of it. Because even if you work in a job and you're none of those things, you're going to still retire even from the workforce of honest living. So you got to retire from pimping and hustling, just like you got to retire from the corporate world. Both sides, the stand-up citizen that's not living like that, and then the hustler and the low life that is living like that, both of them equally have to retire from that life. So with why glorify the pimp, the hustler, the gangster, whatever, when that's just a survival instinct or some state of survival that we're in if we are that person, instead glorify the doctor, the lawyer. A lot of the stuff that your boy was just saying on the podcast, you said his name Skylar?
Solar Gray.
Okay.
The stuff Solar Gray was saying just on the very previous podcast, right, about the strike, about the actor strike, a lot of good points about the essential worker. Everybody want to be somebody super special, but when the pandemic hit, because I am an essential worker actually, and it was, you know what I'm saying, like suddenly we looked upon that's great. And you said something that I appreciate you said in the episode. You was like, what was y'all at? You know what I'm saying? When we needed you, not that I'm thinking like that as far as the strike, but you did have a kind of devil's advocate type question there when you said, what was y'all at when them people were struggling.
Now, people do think like that. You know, people be like, "Yo, man,
right.
look."
Now, I'm not thinking that way, but at the same time, I do understand where you're coming from, and you got a valid point. And all I'm saying is, back to the fact that they could clone a certain type of person, and we would follow behind it. That's a direct indictment on us having a follower mentality and not knowing our worth and not having any imagination about ourselves that we would aspire to be something like that. Now, pass
right.
Now,
go ahead.
How I looked at it, where they showed you all these, you know, negative influence. They got the preacher, of course, we mentioned him. They have the pastor. I'm sorry, my apologies. The drug dealer, the pimp, and they have all of these people essentially working their said area because that's what they see in those areas. But what they did show was, if all of those people came together, how much more powerful and intelligent we can be if we learn to share the information amongst one another.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I'm glad you said that.
And and what they did was they went to their own network. They wasn't using cell phones to make the phone call. They was passing the information to certain people.
They created their own means of communication and everything.
In everything, right in plain sight.
They basically showed us how to stay on code. Right there in the movie.
They showed, you're right. They did.
Taught you how to stay on code.
Exactly how to stay on code.
The movie taught you. Not that we gotta go about it the way they went about, like you run up to the dude and act like you punched him in the face and give him 1,000 and tell him to meet up. Not like that. Just that the language that we already speak, we can. And in order for us to stay on code, first of all, let me say this: we gotta stop kicking each other down. See, I can't communicate with you if I'm at arms with you. I can't communicate with you if you hate my guts because of whatever stupid reason that you hate my guts. I disagree with you, open mind. So you stupid forever. I'll never want to talk to you again, open mind. You said something on the other podcast that I disagreed with. Man. And I disagreed with it so vehemently that I don't ever want to talk to open mind again. If that is how you carry yourself amongst your black people, we ain't gonna never really communicate and stay on no code because you don't even want to talk to me. You don't know. You don't even want to hear what I got to say. What plans I might have.
That goes to the whole thing of like throwing each other away. Like we throw each other away quickly.
So before we get on code, we got to pull each other out the trash can because we threw each other away. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that the movie. It's just a movie, right? It's not real.
Yeah.
But there's some nuances that we can pluck from the beginning to the end. Nuance all over this movie. Nuance. There's indictments on us. And there's indictments on America, but everybody got to take some accountability. If you watch this movie and you don't feel just 2% accountability of yourself, you out here bugging.
Like I'm gonna keep it. Well, they show how all of this stuff kind of dovetails together, and it ends up feeding each other. Like you got the woman in the commercial saying straighter is greater. You know what I'm saying? So or you have the chicken that's completely controlling their mood and the music that's completely slowing them down and speeding them up however they want. Like all of this. So you have the media side, but then you have the personal side, the personal the personal responsibility side, and it's all kind of coming together in this weird pot mixture of just negativity.
Toxicity induced. The main ingredient in everything in that movie was toxicity, from the top to the bottom. We live and swim in a toxic cesspool of just toxic drama and BS daily. We engage in it, we participate in it, we look for it. If there is no toxicity and there's too much positivity, we'll create some toxicity because there's none to reach out at. We have a sick addiction to toxicity. If it's not toxic, it's lame, it's boring.
Yep.
It's whack. It's mid. It's mid. Like why can't we have a good time? Why is something more revered the more negative it is, and the more positive something is, the less it's revered. Pass the mic.
The way you hit that point is something that I think is awesome because this movie, there's so much about this movie, and of course we're going to try to take our time on some stuff, but this movie does a great job of showing those different aspects everywhere, across age, across,
Mhm.
across profession. I mean, you even got the little kid. The little kid that
Yeah.
watches SpongeBob riding his bike. You know that kid just wants to be a kid, but the kid is a scout. He's already starting out as a scout. But
He ain't even,
Exactly.
why is he doing that? Because being Michael B. Jordan is corny. I remember when Luke Cage came out, and Luke Cage was like killing it. Everybody was loving it, But as time went on, like say 6 months, a year out, people were talking about how corny Luke Cage was. And when Luke Cage season 2 came out, they were like, Luke Cage is corny. He's lame.
a generic black guy. He's a generic black guy.
Yeah, they were like, he's respectability
he ain't no
politics.
real ninja. He not a real ninja.
I was like, well, what makes him so corny? I was like, all right, he's a guy that cares about other people, cares about his neighborhood. He don't treat anybody.
I'm gonna tell you what
wrong.
makes so corny.
So I was like, so what exactly is wrong with this guy?
Nothing was
Like,
wrong
what
with
exactly
him.
is
It was
wrong
the actor.
with
The actor,
Or
the
is-
real life actor, is married to a white woman in real life. So suddenly they lost respect for him, the character.
That must be
That's what it was.
That
His
must
real
be
life wife is a white woman, so he ain't as real.
that must.
That's what it was about. Had nothing to
I
do
was
with
like, if
Luke
you
Cage.
look at Luke Cage, like there's the, I mean, I don't know. I mean, is it because he's not the quintessential street guy that he's
Right.
corny? Because I was like, yeah, he does have some platitudes and stuff, but as far as being corny, this guy is a straight up, honest, genuine guy. What's wrong
Right.
with that? But of course, as time has gone on, media has sold to us that being a genuine, stand-up, honest person just
It's
isn't
corny.
enough. You know what I'm saying? It just isn't enough. You have to have, like you said, you have to have some drama around you. You gotta have,
Mhm.
and
You gotta have a
even I said it.
backstory.
Yeah, even I've said it. I love watching shows where it's just a regular black family. Nobody's going to jail. Nobody's on drugs. Nobody's like nobody's trying to fight somebody. It's just a regular black family just hanging out. You know what I'm saying? It's nice to see that sometimes because you
family
think,
matters.
yeah, you
But
think,
no, we the gorillas in the zoo. We not supposed to have normality.
yeah,
we don't
you
have-
think that we can't
We're
just be
subhumans.
chilling.
Remember, we subhumans. We don't have civilized conversations and civilized things. No, we're uncivilized savages in our house. We ooga booga. That's what they think we are. So how dare we? How dare we be civilized and
let's
put a
not-
fork in a spoon?
Let's not get so super personal and make it feel as though, hey, we want to exercise our demons out here live. No, what it is you got to understand that people move amongst people a certain way, and of course, here it is. All black people do not come from the hood,
And we're not a monolith.
They come, yeah. We are different types of people, and we can move about the room in ways where other people can't. In the sense where the one thing that white people mostly are afraid of is going to the hood, but we can go to the rich area. Because we came from the hood. We came from nowhere. It's like we're accepted everywhere. When you really think about it, when you travel even the world, we accepted everywhere. You just got to not be a criminal.
Yeah, just so I want to throw it on the story real quick because the story, the way this plays out, they reference Nancy Drew multiple times, and I love it because at its core, this is like some Nancy Drew, Hardy Boys mystery type joint, but just set with our sensibilities, with our people.
Yep.
Because you start out with
100%.
like, yo, we in the hood, this dude's making collections. And I didn't even get that he was a drug dealer at first. At first he seemed more like an enforcer that was going to make pickups. So
right, like the muscle.
I was like, we start out with a movie. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess this is just like he's like in the hood and he's doing pickups, and then they swerve and they're like, no, guess what? There's this whole breadcrumb mystery about a sci-fi pseudoscience cloning, and I'm like, with all these references and I guess pieces of so-called white supremacy throughout. And
right.
It's done in a very clever way. and I can't wait to watch it again because
Exactly.
it's also funny.
The movie was dope. Like I have nothing to critique the movie to say to critique. Everybody did their thing as far as acting. You know, it wasn't like belly up, belly laughing, funny laughing. But you know, I chuckled a lot, I laughed a lot. But what I enjoyed the theatrical performance because I'm just I always felt like acting was my calling and I missed it. But I have a respect for actors in the entertainment
You
industry.
can still go for it.
Yo, it ain't never too late, bro. It ain't never too late.
I mean,
I'd
have to get with Solar. You know what I'm saying? But I don't. I think it's a fleeting dream that I never pursued, man. So
here it is. That's you can walk that straight line and pursue it. You know what the hard work entails. You just got to go out there and strive for it.
Hit me up since you're a writer. You're a writer. I'm an actor. Let's go. Let's just get something popping, fam.
Hey, again, as I was trying to say, shout out to Keith. What is his name? Kiefer Sutherland. If I'm saying it correctly, am I correct?
Yeah, Jack.
All right. I don't want to be incorrect. Hey, look, I'm gonna tell you right now. I've been watching him since Lost Boys. And
shouts to
he's
Lost Boys.
He's always been a great method actor. Like I put him in a range of like Keanu Reeves. I feel like you can put him in anything, he can make it work. Yeah. And he has that effect that almost like that Kevin Spacey. How you can switch it on, switch it off.
And he came in, he was like, "Look, y'all, check it.
I know we only doing
it to y'all." He was like, "I know we only doing it to y'all, but look, it ain't personal." It's like, yes, it is. It's like,
yeah,
because you're doing it to me. But he was like, "Look,
this is my job.
It's all good.
This is my job."
He's like, "Look, man, everybody got a boss.
Everybody got a boss.
Everybody got a boss."
And I was like, Jack Bauer, not
we
you.
We ain't seen him in so long. Keith Sutherland, but everybody got a boss.
And the whole like the kill switch code, he basically did what Lex Luthor did to Superboy. He was like,
right.
He was like, "No, you ain't gonna attack me, boy. I made you.
I made you."
He was like, "What you thought you was going to get self-righteous, try to take me out? Nah." But seeing them, navigate this. From the beginning where he's like just making his pickups to like to Jamie Foxx's character being like, "Hold up, you dead." He's like, "What you mean?" He's like, "You don't remember being here yesterday?" And watching the slow realization is awesome because we're kind of discovering this with them, even though we've seen the trailer. We're kind of discovering this with Fontaine as he's going through it because he thinks, like he said, "I'm me." Like,
I'm me.
He's like, "What you mean? I'm me."
It showed all this aggression and rage and understanding right up front.
He was like, "You got killed, Ash Yo-Yo."
How you would react to your clone if you met it in person?
Exactly.
Like everybody on this panel, if you realistically walked up to your clone, you knew that's what it was immediately. It's looking at you, you looking at it, and y'all having a conversation. How would you feel emotionally? And his intention is to replace you.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
You wouldn't like it. you feel it? Go ahead.
I feel like that's your children growing up. That's your clones. You got to talk.
No. That's different.
No,
that's the offspring. I'm talking about
but an actual clone. I'm messing with you just a little bit. I had to throw you off. But if I was to face myself, here we go. It depends on that individual. You got to look at the stereotype where he thought he was the one and superior one of him. You understand? Where he'll go and run this person over, take his money. I dare you, I'm gonna deal with him later. Didn't see the consequences coming, but just it showed the young mind.
Yeah,
it showed
because you gotta be out your mind thinking that ain't.
You gotta be out your mind. Exactly. So the whole concept of karma was right there, and at the same token, he had the phantom thoughts and the phantom pains of what had happened, and he just wanted to ignore it because here it is, like they tell you. If you don't feel no pain, shrug that off. You're a boy. That ain't nothing. You know, it's all in your head. That ain't real. You know, they'll tell you these things growing up to make you not believe, but then somebody else knows, and then another person knows, and it's starting to hit you. It's not. You have to get confirmation. Like, yeah, I saw you in that car. You was dead.
Yeah, it's like, yo, you. And then when they follow they follow that car to the house. They get there, and when he sees his body with the holes in it, seeing how he backs up slowly from it is like a great moment in just his character's realization. Like, whoa, because I mean, when you see something like that, your world is done. You know,
right?
Your world is finished. It's like, whoa. Because then the question is, it's like, all right, hold on. So how many of me have been made? Like, what? Like, am I like number 100? Like, how? Like,
right?
Like, what?
How many times have I been this person?
Yeah, how many times have I been cloned? And how much of me is really me left? And like, it's so the way he backed up slowly was awesome. It was cool. And like just the demeanor from Fontaine was awesome the whole time. But the funniest person for me, and I don't know, I'm trying to figure out who's my favorite pimp. I don't know if it's Slick Charles or Cream Corn from Black Dynamite. But Slick Charles is funny, man. He said, he was like, you came in here, you passed up on my beige chick. He was like, then he said that bad.
Hey, he was throwing them zingers all through the movie, bro. The zingers was coming left and right.
Right.
He was throwing zingers all over the place, bro.
He was,
and he was doing them so fast, you had to catch him. Like, I got to watch the movie again.
Now, because I rewound a couple ones, like, hold on, what did he say? And I was like, oh man,
I didn't miss nothing. I saw everything, but now I just want to watch it again because I want to catch some of them zingers. Like some of them zingers didn't register right away. He was catching them. He was throwing like Jamie Foxx is gonna be Jamie Foxx even if he's playing a character.
Yeah,
right. And
it was hilarious.
I like how they didn't glorify Jamie Foxx. He shared the movie.
Yeah,
he shared the screen.
This was a true team,
bro.
That's exactly.
Bro. Like Jamie Foxx really was a supporting actor in this movie. Honestly,
right?
He was not the star of this movie. He was a supporting actor. The star was that girl in John Boyega.
Exactly.
True.
And here it is. I need to look up. It makes me want to look into her background and see what other movies and things that she's played in. You know,
because I know
right.
she's basically Spectrum in Marvel. But Tiana, was she on something about If Beale Street Could Talk? Was she in that?
I don't
Maybe
remember.
she wasn't. I know she was in the new Candyman movie. I remember that.
Okay.
That's who I knew she looked familiar. I couldn't place her. There it is.
I passed on that movie. My apologies.
And, and she's in Chirac. Even though I don't watch that, she's in Chirac.
Okay,
I've never seen Chirac. I've never seen Chirac. Not one episode.
So Tiana Paris.
I guess we need to.
Tiana Paris, she getting that money.
Well,
hopefully she getting that money. I know it's an actor strike, so hopefully she getting that money.
I did see the Candyman movie. I just had never seen Chirac.
But that her whole perspective of like, yeah, you were dead. You don't remember? and then her like really driving the investigative part, because of course all of these books that she reads, like she wanted to be an investigative journalist. And even Jack Bauer, even though it's not Jack Bauer, but Jack Bauer was like, oh, this is great. This is you even drew up schematics. Like this is some good work.
This is good work. Yeah, right.
He was like, we're going to throw this all the way. But I mean, you did some awesome work. Even her little trench coat with the hat.
Yo, that scene was so funny, dog. That scene, when she was running down the street.
Yo, you're even more like noticeable. Like, don't do that.
I know, right?
She was working her thing. I thought she had a good thing going for a second. Then,
But, seeing how people get, just picked up from the neighborhood and nobody even really bats an eye. They're just like, oh, that happens around here. And they just let it go.
And that's the problem. That is in itself is the problem because it happens so fluent. Like nobody bats an eye, nobody gets suspicious. Here we go. That's one of the indictments on us that I wanted to speak about as a community. The indictment on us in the movie is something like that could happen to us so easily because we just so distracted with our BS that we distracted with everything.
Ooh.
Yeah, because either you're distracted with the BS.
They can easily come in and clone us right now, and we wouldn't even know they're doing it.
Yeah, because either you're distracted with the BS, or you're scared to say something, and sometimes rightfully so, because it's like, look, man, I don't want to be involved in none of this, like because I've lived in situations where it's like, look, I'ma just literally keep my head down and just walk straight. And, and I had to do that for a lot of my youth where it was like, I don't know nothing. I don't see nothing. I'm just going to the bus stop. It's like, so you got that part too, where it's like, yo, if there's a Fontaine in the hood, you don't want to mess with him. You don't want to come across him. So if you see him doing something, you're not going to be like, ring, hello, officer, I'd like to report a crime. No, you won't be like, yo, this dude knows where I live. Let me just chill and like, hopefully he won't bother me. Like, so it's like you got the people on the BS, you got the people that are scared, you got the people that think they're better than someone else, so they're glad that they disappeared. There's so much going.
There's so many nuances in that movie.
Right.
There's so many nuances in this movie.
And the part where I love how they brought up the culture, like with the cars, with the donks. Now that I like that positivity because that's something that we created with the hot rod engines, with the old classic cars. Like I love how they brought that together. I love how they showed, everybody coming together. But another thing that really intrigued me beyond the license plate was, we talked about the control factors, but here was the thing. The black guy really was the boss. We said it in the beginning, but you think about it now, it's like how we would say it's always this, every time we in the corporate world or we into any type of thing, it's never really the white people that's holding us back. It's always this other black guy that's trying to keep us a little bit lower than him. And if anything, I will hope that message reaches those individuals. You know who you are.
Hey, TJ, talk to him and preach that word, bro. Preach that word. That's why we needed to have this conversation.
Stop ostracizing the differences amongst your other black, people of your own color. You shouldn't be so judgmental and undermining about what your perception is. They want to say perception is everything, but they forget we don't get to know one another, and there's so much hatred in the world, and there's not enough love. People forget communication is key.
Yeah, if a lot of people just had conversations, it's a race. If it's white people talking to Asian people, if it's Middle Eastern people talking to French people, like if we just, not the government's talk, not our governments that represent us.
Not the government.
I'm talking about the people of a nation. Talk to other people of a nation. Ignore the propaganda news, the internet news, whatever your politics is telling you. And I would say if there's a way to do that, but there is a way. We've been doing it over the internet. We communicate amongst ourselves through the Google Translator, and we find out that the world is a ghetto. The hood is all over the place. Because when you talk to somebody over there in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Australia, China, Japan, when you do the Google Translator, you're talking to people who are living in the same oppressive type of governmental situation. Everybody on top of each other, food scarcity, job scarcity. When you have conversations with people who ain't your color, but a human nonetheless, across the world, across the water, you realize, okay, we all in this dang on pot together. Why we fighting each other to climb out the bowl instead of let's get together and just break the whole bowl? I don't want to climb out the bucket. They say crab in the bucket. How about we just break the bucket? They can't put us in a bucket that we had to climb out of in the first place. First of all, give me the buckets.
It's that
Who
rat
put
race,
me?
man.
If I'm
It's
a
that.
crab in a bucket, who put me in the bucket? I wanna be in a situation where can't nobody put me in a bucket that I gotta climb out of in the first place. That
It's
I gotta
that.
even grab my brother's shirt and pull him down so I can climb up. Why? How we end up in this bucket in the first place? So let's just get rid of the bucket. And the
And lay
bucket
it all
is
out on the floor.
that's all I'm saying. Like the bucket is the barrier of communication, like TJ just said. The fact that we don't communicate, we have implicit bias. See, I'm using that word to encompass everybody. So if I say bigot or racist, then people can take that and run off because I want to use my terms right since we're speaking on the public. Implicit bias means you have a stereotypical perception of a particular race of people based off their skin color without you yourself having any actual facts of that race or that person. So you just look at a group of people, white, black, whatever, and your implicit bias tells you that they're this way, and you haven't even spoken to that person.
And it's
Then you
You
speak to
don't
that
even know
probably
person and
anything
you
from
see
that
that they
person.
nothing like what you thought they was. So now even though they may not have known that you had implicit bias, but that guilt set in on you, like, yo, I was wrong about this person. They really cool people. But who
Mhm.
needed your seal of approval? That's God telling you to check yourself at the door before you even check this person. So the individual who you implicitly bias against has no idea. But God is watching your movements. That's why you feel that guilt over you when you talk to a person who show you something different than you thought they was, and you say, "Man, at first I thought you was this, but you really a cool such and such and such and such." If that's how you talking, that's because God done already jumped in that behind and made you feel guilty for your implicit bias in the first place. Passing the mic.
Well, I'm gonna take it a step further.
Go
Talking
ahead.
about like you said with the governments, that implicit bias is usually built on government-backed media, whether it's local or national, either to make you
Mm.
feel like you're better than the next country or worse
Mhm.
than the next country or better than the
Mhm.
next person or worse than the next person. So now, after you've watched this media for 10, 15, 20, 35 years, now you sitting
Right.
around without ever having meeting that person from that community being like, I'm better than them. I'm better than them.
Automatically.
Just
Or
just
or
automatically without
they don't
without no fact.
deserve what they have. They must have
Yeah.
stole it. You know?
You get to determine or decide what somebody deserve and don't deserve because you said so.
Hmm. It
And listen,
meaning they don't understand everybody's situation. Everybody's situation is different.
and
You
that's
can
what
eat
we
the same
talking about.
McDonald's, but it ain't the same crap at the end of the day. You know,
Hmm.
it's not. You know, what you do don't make me have the same response. We all rise to the. You know, we all arrive at the answer at a different time.
Hmm.
Plain and simple. And
Yep.
lack of information, you know, deprives you. You know, they say knowledge is key, knowledge is power. It really is. Because the more you know how to get out of the circumstance, the more you know how to finesse the situation, or as we would, you got to know how to maneuver.
And
You
a
got
lot
to
of
know how
stuff
to
is a
communicate.
lot.
You got to know how to understand. You got to listen to understand and not listen to respond. And that's what
Ex-
most people get
Yeah,
caught up with.
Yeah,
yeah.
take a second after someone says something. Take a second and just mull over it for a second before you respond. Just be like, okay,
Mm.
and like really think about what they're coming from, and then be like, okay, cool. So you're saying this, or and try to actually have like a base level or I guess a area where both of you can kind of disarm yourselves to a certain
Yeah.
Mm.
degree.
Because even if y'all not agreeing or seeing eye to eye on a subject, y'all can come away from that conversation still having not agreed, but not hating
Right.
each other, not
And
ready to
not
tear
hating
each
each
other
other.
next off. It's like,
Right.
hey, and you ain't even got to say, I agree to disagree just to end the conversation. No, you can just be a person who's in control of their emotions that this person that I'm talking to just not seeing where I'm coming from. I'm not seeing where they're coming from. And that's okay. But that doesn't dismiss their entire life or life accomplishments or whatever good deeds they've ever done because me and this person didn't agree on this subject. Like we dismiss a person's whole life because we don't agree on one thing. Like, and
Right. But
that's where we gotta a
Mhm.
lot of us gotta like really just check ourselves offline, online, or whatever. Like, I don't have to agree with you. But because I disagree with you doesn't mean I hate you or that I'm hating on you or that I don't want to see you prosper or that I don't want good things for you. It's just that you said this thing right here. I disagree with this thing right here that you said right here today. But then, and this, let's just move past it. And we don't have to hate. We don't have to like every time we see each other, we got to ram each other like two goat rams. Like, no, like I just disagree with what you said on that day. Like, why every time I see you, you mad at me for disagreeing with you? So basically, back to Tyrone movie, we have an oppressive personality. We oppress each other just in conversation. Agree with me or get the F out of my face.
Well, yeah, because we've been taught.
That's how we are.
We've been taught similarly, like it says in Star Wars. Only Sith deal in absolutes. We've been taught through our. I guess I could say American because I can't really speak for any other country. But in America, we've been taught that if you don't agree with me, then you hate me, you're my enemy, you're, and when I say you don't agree, you have to agree with every single thing I say and do. And if you don't, then somehow you're out to get me. You're, it don't
even be that deep.
You're my enemy.
Half the time, bro, it don't even be that deep. It just be, I just disagree with you today. That's it. And I don't care about it, nothing else. Just today. It's like, why is it that you could support a person up until the point where you disagree with said person, and now all that support you gave them, F all that. It's like Tourette said, you said a thing I don't agree with. I can't believe I supported you all these years and all this. It's like, how do you throw that much of a tantrum at this individual that you've supported all these years, but you don't agree with them today? So now you finna just lose everything that, like, we gotta stop overreacting. Chill, people. Chill. Like some things be small, and y'all make it like a whole mountain.
I think it's part of that. Like, I honestly think it's part of that sort of rat race trauma that we're forced into this rat race of basically work, go to sleep. Work, go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
Go to sleep. And the reason you have to do that is because we make sure that resources are so constricted for you
that you can't do nothing but work and go to sleep.
Yeah, that's all you can do, and hope and pray that you hit the lottery, or maybe you have to get desperate enough to try to maybe skim some off the top or embezzle something or rob somebody or because. The money that people have when it comes to, like, let's say even the top, let's say 5%, that money gives you the freedom to have time. So you're not stressed about tomorrow. Oh, can I make it to next week? Can I do? So when people are in that depressive state of the rat race, all that does is exacerbate what we've already been taught through all of this stuff, through the clones that they've put in our communities, through the medicine quote medicine in the commercials and all this, and then the music and everything. All it does is exacerbate that. So now you're ready to fight. Like, I mean, you see videos on Twitter and stuff. People be fighting over like, okay, and this is not to place blame on anyone. But the lady in Chicago, the guy that was hitting her, and then the son shot him. Yo, there's nothing that happened in that hot dog stand that someone had to die of. But due to the rat race, the depression, the hyper, the hyper stress and everything, people are just crazy and on edge on general. So fights just happen.
Ready to pop off
on edge and crazy. It kind of like comes out in these crazy bursts that you see online where it's like, man, how do you get that mad at McDonald's? Or like, how do you get that angry at the gas station? Because I have lived my whole life. I have not gotten in one fight at a restaurant ever. I haven't gotten in a fight at a gas station. I'm like, what are these people doing? But they're in this rat race. They're experiencing the same kind of day-to-day just stress, intense feeling of just trying to, quote, make it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
it kind of circles to what I guess I want to touch on last, which is the terminology that they use, which is the terminology of the trap. Because we've called the hood many things. We call it the hood, PJs, the projects, but they use the term the trap over and over.
And to give you the nuance that's exactly what this is. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
And then they further illustrate it because Yo-Yo had been talking about, I'm getting out, I'm leaving, I'm moving to Memphis. And then also we hear that Slick Charles like, oh, well, I wanted to leave back whenever, or whatever he said. He wanted to leave at some time. So you see these people, they, quote, wanted to leave, but somehow they're still there.
Tried to leave. And a lot of times, this is what I like about this movie. This movie, it's like it shows in nuanced form a lot of my story and a lot of people's stories where people say, yo, man, I've been trying. And then you got the condescending dismissive people that say, well, you ain't trying to hustle. You still stuck there. It's not that simple. It's not a situation of a person because they still stuck in a situation, therefore they're not trying. No, that's not what it is. It's a trap. It's exactly what the word, they're stuck in a trap. Not that they want to be there. They actually are trying. Look at the girl. She had all that type of ideas. Even though they kept failing on her, she kept thinking about ideas and ways to get out of this trap. So even if you never make it out, don't accuse a person who's stuck in a hood of wanting to be there. They probably just can't figure out how to get out or could use a leg up. Or a lot of times people don't even need money. This is the sad part about us, right?
They just need that chance.
We're so afraid to give somebody $50 that we don't even want to talk. A lot of people don't even need the money. They just need the information. If you can tell me how to get to blank A, B, or C, I don't even need you to give me a ride or drop me off. Just give me the directions. But that's what Clarence Thomas is. He's a gatekeeper. You get there and you shut the door behind you. You feel me? You're going to get to your place of success or your place of whatever in life, and you ain't gotta give me no money. That's why I say people say the game is to be sold, not told. No, that's BS. Stop saying that. The game is to be sold. Why you selling me game and you look like me? You supposed to be giving me the game. But because you figured out something, you like how it feel to be up there with them people, with them folks that you was howling and fighting your fight the power fist with me. But then they threw you a bone, and now you got to change the heart. Well, I don't know. Well, maybe us Negroes do need to get our stuff together. You know, now your speech change and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait.
No, they do. I ain't gonna front, man.
Yeah.
They
start off fighting the power,
quick.
and then they turn on you at the end because they got a few dollars. You know.
Yo, man, hold that thought real quick. I was talking about buying a house, and I was like, all right, check it. I don't want to live around ignorant, but I also don't want to live around the bougie either. I just want regular black people, man.
Civilized people. The word is civilized.
You know what I'm saying? Because the bougies be getting on my nerves too.
Yeah, like the bougies always in your business. They call them, they overreact.
Well, see, the problem with black people, you mean you?
You mean you? Yeah.
You mean you too?
You mean you? Because you just as black as me?
Like, you're killing me.
The bougie ones want us. They want to fight the power with us when they get discriminated against. But up until that point, they still gonna. They only want to come to the hood and fight with us and understand with us, right? When one of them white executives fired them. Now you black again. Now you black again because you're unemployed.
Someone didn't serve them, and they went to Louis Vuitton, and someone ain't serve them. So now all of a sudden, now they got to rally the troops. Now,
oh wow!
Which goes to my point when I was saying on the strike, like, oh, so we supposed to help now? So now we got to get up for you.
Now you black again.
Now I got to get up and pick up the picket sign for you. Come on.
You didn't see color. You know how they be talking. We don't see color and all that stuff. But when they see color and fire your behind, see, you don't see color, but they see your black behind and
they saw your color
black. And when they start to see your color, now all of a sudden this is racism. This is America's racism. And America's is racist. And we need to stop this racism. And my black people's Fight the powers with me. Donate to my fund.
All of a sudden, they
Give
in
me
the
all your
video
money.
burning incense and stuff.
Yeah.
They wearing earth tones and everything now.
Bro. Ridiculous, man.
But my bad. But yeah, the whole thing about the trap is so, it illustrates it so well, but then it's also sad because it's like, dang, man, this
Let's
movie
talk about
right. And I looked up, I was like, yo, when I made sure to pay attention to the writers, because I was like, all right, they cloned Tyrone. Like, who wrote this? You know, who wrote it and directed? You know what I'm saying? And I looked at the writers. It's Jewel or Jewel Taylor. It's a brother. And then Tony Rittenmeyer. I mean, I guess you can kind of understand from, you know, here, but it's not a brother.
Okay.
And I was just surprised.
You'll meet some black people with Jewish last names.
But yeah, so
he might be mixed or something. Yeah.
It's a brother he looks, I mean, I guess
you looking at
he
him,
looks what the police would consider white. I'll say that.
Okay, there you go. Okay,
but so a brother and a white guy wrote this, but as illustrative as it is of our culture, I was like, yo, this thing, because I was expecting to see like the like all black, but when I saw a white dude, I was like, oh, okay. But I mean, I will give them props because I don't know if you guys watch Craig of the Creek, but the creators of Craig of the Creek is actually, they're not black. So it's like, oh, okay, well, all right. So y'all made an animated series about a happy, well-adjusted black family. That's
from y'all
surprising. And it's so, Craig of the Creek is two white guys that made it. And it's like, huh? And it's so steeped in our culture. It's like, now, I mean, of course they do have black writers for the show and stuff like that, but it's still like, wow, okay. And similar how when I looked up the writer for this movie, I was like, oh, okay, so it's a brother and a white dude that, all right.
I'm gonna throw out the disclaimer
more power to you.
For my people that don't understand the movie and you need a good reference, you know, to go watch the clone movie. If you want to go back and watch The Stepford Wives, watch that movie. Get to laugh on, chuckle about that, then come back and watch They Clone Tyrone and watch how much of a better movie it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just so much information dropped. It just behooves me for you to not see the differences that you can make. But of course, everybody got their own struggle. And that's just what it is. Everybody ashamed of their own struggle. You know, everybody afraid to be themselves and put out there on display what life really is like for them. Because
I'd like
they
to
always
say that's
want to
slightly different, TJ. I'll let you finish. I think people have been made to feel ashamed of their struggle. Because I don't think people are.
That's what I was getting to.
I think people have been made to feel ashamed by those around them, so they therefore hide their struggle and they don't let nobody know they're struggling because they don't know if they can trust that person to give them some grace, show them some love, or talk crazy about them and dismiss them. But go ahead. I just wanted to say that part. Go ahead, finish.
But that's where I was leading to, where everybody shouldn't be ashamed of their struggle. Everybody should know that, again, as I said, coming together, learning to talk and communicate, be, you know, in a little bit more invested in each other as opposed to everybody else. You know, if you really hone in and everybody, you know, not to say it crabs in a barrel effect or anything, but somebody comes to effect where we need to put a percentage in this particular pot. There's not a lot of financial literacy. There's not a lot of, you know, Commonwealth knowledge. There's not a lot of generational passing down. Like what they showed was, if you grew up a pimp and you grew up around pimps, you gonna want to be a pimp. How the little scouter was. If he grew up around the people that was drug dealer and they making moves, guess what he want to do? He want to get money just like them. Everybody has somebody to look up to. So you can only imagine if you change those people's locations and places and the people that they had to look up to, how much different would the world be?
Because look at what they're gonna be looking up to. They'll be looking up to somebody. If it's a situation of follow the leader, right? Which is another nuance to the movie. Follow
Right.
not necessarily the leader, but follow the most influential, right? Better way.
Mm-hmm.
Then why don't we? And this is symbolic. I'm talking. This is not. I'm not trying to preach here. Why don't
We'll poke a
we
little bit.
try to create a better image to follow? If we already have the tendency to follow behind people and do what people do, monkey see, punky do. You grew up around drug dealers, you a drug dealer. You grew up around pimps, you a pimp. Well, why can't we grow up around lawyers, doctors, businessmen? Why can't we grow up around fill in the
But they
blank
don't live in the
and
hood.
follow that since we're followers? So then the indictment therein is our leaders. Then
That's just it. You
everybody
don't see
takes
the
some
lawyer living
accountability.
in the
Yes,
hood.
yeah, everybody takes some accountability nonetheless. But if we all have a collective hive mind where we have a tendency to follow behind whatever, well then let's
Mm-hmm.
change the image or the what that image is that we're following. Like
Right.
let's follow behind a positive image, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't because I'm just breaking down the human mind right now. What I'm digging at is the mind and not the skin color. If
Gotcha.
this is true, and we have a tendency to follow behind stuff, then let's trick that mind and let's follow behind something positive. Right? Don't change your mindset. Be a follower. Go ahead if that's what you are, but follow something positive then. Mimic that. Mimic and try to be like that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you to stop being a follower. I'm not telling you to stop following behind tropes. If you're gonna follow behind a trope, it could be it's okay for it to be a positive trope. Nobody's saying that you couldn't, you know what I'm saying? It's okay. There's no rule that says, well, if I'm a follower behind the trope, it's gotta be negative. No, you a follower right now. You want to be a drug dealer, you want to be a hustler, you want to be a gangster, you want to be whatever you following behind. So follow something else and try to be like that. And there's nothing else, no rule that says you can't mimic a doctor, mimic a lawyer, mimic a politician, mimic something positive, plumber, electrician, carpenter, everything. A lot of the examples that Solar was using in the strike video, go watch the strike video with NERDSoul and Solar. If you haven't watched it, watch it where Solar is discussing the actor strike. And he uses a lot of essential worker job titles, right? The job that don't nobody want,
The
right?
blue collar worker.
Follow behind that. Because that'll keep you out of jail. That makes you a productive member of society. And not only follow behind that, let's all of us stop SHITing on those types of people. Let's all of us stop looking down on that type of person like that's, well, you work there? Well, you broke. Like, stop doing that to people. Go ahead.
Because on the real, y'all can look down your noses all y'all want, but let that trash not come this week. Let that trash pickup not come this week. Y'all gonna be looking sad. Let that trash not come this week. Y'all put y'all cans out, wake up the next morning like, hold up, the trash still there? The first thing you're gonna say is, where's the trash man? Are they picking up this week? What's going on?
Right.
Like, why you care about them so much? I thought they weren't important.
They lose their SHIT when that essential worker don't come over there and clean up that yard.
I lose mine too. I lose mine too when they go back.
Man, let that trash not come this week. People gonna be like, hold up.
Before the storm, they was rolling twice a week. After the storm, they roll once a week. And then the next year, they still roll once a week. I'm like, wait a minute. I know I paid for two.
Right.
It's like, I got a custom.
I look on my property tax. They say, hey, 2 times, that's just what you're paying for. I was like, okay, so I want to get one. What's happening? Somebody owe me some duckies.
I'm gonna need that double up. I'm gonna throw it to TJ Storm. Final thoughts and where can they find you?
Final thoughts is the movie was fantastic. It brings up all of the emotions and thought processes. It makes you look at yourself in a reconstructive way. And, you can take your own criticism and give yourself a little bit of constructive criticism. You can, at this point in time, reach out to your counterparts, of your closest ones. We all have them. The ones that we do talk to, the ones that can relate, that can read the room a little bit. Reach out to them and have that open conversation. A lot of it shows you that there's a lot of open conversation that needs to be had. And I want y'all to just look at the movie. Everybody played a great role, and it surprised me. Just the whole fact that it still had that ill twist, it surprised me. And I definitely want you to see it. You want to reach out to me, you can, contact me on PlayStation Network. I don't like the network a lot, but I need the network more. So coming soon, we're going to have a YouTube channel, the TJ Storm. Look for me there, as well as, again, you can find me on PlayStation Network. That's TJ Storm. No numbers, no alphabets, nothing special. Find me there. Yeah, I'm on Street Fighter. Yeah, I'm on.
Oh, yeah, the SF6.
Yeah.
I open mind. Final thoughts. Where can they find you?
Listen, my final thoughts is all through this show. You want to hear them? Plus replay and go back and listen to that fire and brimstone sermon I just gave. But
you can find
me. You can find me Open Mind, spell it with a Y, on Twitter. I am Open Mind on IG, and Open Mind, spell it with a Y, on Threads. I got a Threads account now. I'm on Threads.
You know what? Right? I forgot to say, if you want to find me on Instagram, you can find me at Bread Run. Definitely. If you want to look at it, so I got some merch. You can pick up a shirt, order a shirt.
BRED Run. BRED
_
Run.
There you go.
Yeah.
So BRED_ run.
Yeah.
Yes.
At IG.
I got you. I'll make sure I follow that right now.
All right.
But yeah, I'll say final thoughts on my end. This movie definitely surprised me. The trailer, I was just like, okay, John Boyega, Jamie Foxx, cool. You know what I'm saying? I can do this. And then when I started realizing who Tiana was, I was like, oh, that's the girl from Candyman. Cool. Yeah, everybody seems cool. But as I watched it, this is a lot deeper, a lot funnier.
Yeah.
And definitely a conversation piece on a level that I didn't expect.
Right.
I was thinking that this might be surface level, but they went a lot deeper than I expected.
That movie it's deeper than the trailer. So if you haven't seen it yet and you're just dismissing it because it's a trailer, and to you it's like, oh, what's this goofy? I know how people are. People can be dismissive. We're telling you, this movie, they clone Tyrone. It's not what you think it is. The trailer does not do it any justice at all. The trailer
and that's what I love.
Justice.
This is the thing that they did. How many times you can watch the trailer and that's the whole movie?
And this ain't one of them movies. This ain't one of those movies.
It was over 2 hours.
Yes, it's a long movie. Minutes. That's another thing. It's long.
2 hours and 40 minutes.
It's a Marvel type movie, because when the credits roll, you got to watch the credits roll. It's more movie at the end of the credits. It's a Marvel movie, dog. Almost.
I definitely got to say thank you to shout out to Erykah Badu for the voiceover for the Clone Tyrone song at the end. I loved it.
Oh yeah.
Changed the words.
Erykah Badu made a song called "The Clone Tyrone" to her Tyrone mix. Telling you, this is a black movie right here. First of all, I'm not down. This is a hood classic. This is a hood classic right here. This is a certified hood classic. You should. Oh yeah, bro. So just so everybody understand, like, don't take anything I've said on this particular show as a indictment on the movie. No, this is not an indictment. I'm not indicting the movie. It's just we had to have a conversation about what I think we're doing, what the movie wanted us to do. Have a conversation. So if anything, I think we're doing what the writer and the director wanted us to do, which was kind of discuss some of these nuances. But the actual theatrical movie itself, just the movie as it sits alone, clap, bravo, round of applause. Go watch it. Yeah, I'm not down on the movie at all. Because people can listen to what I say and they can take it as, especially on sound bites, they'd be like, man, open mind, hate. No, I'm not, bro. I'm just speaking on certain things and certain nuances. But the movie is dope. Watch it.
Yeah. So, with that said, NERDSoul, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, podcast, all that jazz. And until the next clone arrives, appears, or returns, this is us telling you peace.
Peace.
Peace.